is the moment.
The Bachelorette is back. And the power
I'm gonna fall in love.
is in Jen's hands.
And I'm gonna do it my way.
ABC tonight.
Everything about her is great.
I feel so special.
Jen's looking like a queen.
My men are very, very hot.
Someone call 911. You are looking so fired.
This is the beginning of a new era.
The Bachelorette. All new tonight, 8/7 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
Hey guys, what is going on? What is going on? Happy October, guys. Guys, for those who are living in the Space Coast area here in Florida, guys, you want to check out the Fall Art and Craft Fair coming up this October 15th and October 16th at Cocoa Village. That's right, guys. All the information can be found on visitcocovillage.com. You can find 250 unique artisans, crafts, all types of stuff there, live music, food trucks, family fun, this October 15th and October 16th. 2 days of family fun, guys. On October 15th, the hours will be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On October 16th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's right, guys. Visit the historic Cocoa Village here on the Space Coast of Florida. All the information, like I said, can be found at visitcocovillage.com. Check it out today for your Fall Art, Craft, and Fair this October 15th and 16th. Hope to see you there, guys.
Michael and Sauce, unfiltered, unscripted, raw.
Savaged. Brief.
3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hey, Sauce, what's up, buddy?
Man, I've been busy.
Busy. I see that for the place. It's good.
So I'm having pretty good.
How'd the episode go? How'd the episode go with the person that you had today?
Congressman? Oh, it went great. We did actually. It's a 3-part series. So we ended up recording over 90 minutes. So I just broke it up in 3 different parts. Okay, so what happened was I ended up doing 3 parts. And so tomorrow we're doing another part. So it's a 3-part series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I was supposed to have a woman on this morning that I was going to do a pre-recorded episode to have it air tomorrow, but she was a no-show. I don't know what happened, so not sure.
And speaking of no-shows, guess who also did a no-show on purpose?
Let me take a wild guess. Tommy Vacation?
No, I did a no-show on the Tuttle podcast because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he invited me and stuff, and so he sent me the link and all that, and then he's like, "Oh, mad saying why didn't I show up?" Because apparently, so apparently, I did a no-show, and he was pissed or he was upset.
You know why he's pissed, right, Sauce?
Why?
Because he knows that you're a radio personality on this show as well, too. So that's what happens when they see the personalities that are on other shows, such as mine, and he knows I'm on your show. They get really, really upset. So it is what it is, man.
Well, I don't see a problem. I didn't agree to signing up for the interview in the first place, but it is what it is.
Well, you know who Tuttle is, right?
Yeah, he used to work with Howard Stern, didn't he?
He used to work on the network of Howard Stern. He's a former personality on Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yeah, and now he pretends that he's in a radio studio and stuff. So he pretends and stuff, and it's like a see-through.
Yeah. He has a green screen behind him. He does it of the comforts of his house. He resides actually not too far from me, probably about maybe an hour, 2 hours north of me in this area called Edgewater, which is a little south of Daytona. and he's trying to become relevant again, Sauce. Because he got fucking fired from Bubba the Love Sponge. They fired him back in 2019. I think it was like drug charges or something like that. I'm not really sure. I have to look more into it, but I know he was fired. You can Google it. He was actually fired in 2019.
Womp, womp, womp.
He's just trying to stay relevant on the radio.
Well, that's kind of actually funny.
Why is that funny?
Well, because so what he's trying to do is that he's trying to hit like regular people and stuff. He's trying to hit like lower people like they're in podcasting and stuff, and trying to he's desperate. And so the way that he invited me and stuff, and I said, no, I'm not going to be really on there. Like tonight, I'm going to be a guest on Liberty Waters podcast, which is huge. And so I'm going to be on at 6 p.m. with them. So I'm looking forward to it. But the whole thing is what's that?
Yeah, I was going to say they're a big show, man. I've heard of them.
Yeah, and it's cool. I was blown away so I'm going to be appearing on there. So that's some huge news there.
Yeah. Did you hear the show? We had a show yesterday, which is another one, a pre-recorded episode. We did two actually. I did one with Joseph, with a woman I had on from Australia, which was a pretty good episode. That already aired. And then we did another one that was pre-recorded yesterday. That's going to be available on iHeart and all the major platforms tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. This guy I had on, Bob, I almost called you Bob. That's the person I was talking to. This guy I had on, Sauce, his name is Bob Lament. He's a fellow radio personality of the longest running weekly audio program on the internet called Static Radio.
Oh, wow.
This guy, he's been around for quite some time, 20 years in the business, over 20 years actually. And some of the parts of the conversation I had with him yesterday was just off the charts. I mean, he got into stuff like that I knew that a lot of people don't know about the radio business. Some of the original roots of podcasting, which for those who are not aware, it started out on iTunes before Spotify and iHeart and Pandora and everything. Podcasting was only available almost 20 years ago, back in 2005, 2008 era on iTunes. You had to buy it to it, and it was very, very costly. And then, maybe 6-7 years later, that's when you start seeing companies like Anchor FM that we broadcast on, and Spotify and iHeart and all these other platforms picking up the shows. And it just went from there. So I want to give a hat tip to Mr. Bob Lament that I know is going to be listening to this episode. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of that episode yesterday. And folks, you can check out that episode, which will air tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern on the East Coast. And then, of course, your respective time zones.
Savaged, unfiltered.
Sauce, we're gonna bring in this gentleman here in about another 8-10 minutes here. I wanted to bring you on earlier before we bring the guest in, because we have a gentleman joining us from New York City. He's a retired NYPD detective, now turned author. And trust me, some of the conversation we have with this gentleman, I think you're going to be really, really impressed, because he's going to get into a lot of the behind the scenes, so to speak, of what New York City is going through right now and what he went through, some of his experiences and stuff. So before we bring him in, do you have anything you want to bring into the show, buddy?
Show me the fucking list.
Well, we have major lineups coming up. Some people, like for instance, we're finishing up the part 3 series with Eric Olson. And we're also getting another individual with Henry Fries, who's running for assembly. And we have major endorsements coming out this afternoon. So stay tuned on my social media platform as we're going to come out with major endorsements.
Yeah, you've been endorsing left and right, Sash. You got to slow down, buddy. I'm just playing.
I know.
Just playing. Don't mind the voice today. Yeah, hold on.
Sorry.
1 second. Yeah, don't mind the voice, man. I'm a little tired, as you can hear in my voice. It's dragging a little bit. I have I normally wake up anywhere between 4 and 5. I get over to the radio station. I get what I have to get done, and then I go home. But I had to go in very early this morning. I had to be there at like 3 o'clock this morning. So I've been up actually since 1 a.m. today. I'm just basically surviving on caffeine and endurance, I guess, at this point.
Wow. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of kudos to you, so all the endorsement flyers, like the posters, they are all accredited to my good friend Michael Gardner. So I want to say thank you so much for the graphics. And it's blowing up in Wisconsin and even in some parts of Indiana.
Well, yeah, you're welcome, Sas. You deserve it, buddy. I normally charge people for stuff like that, but you're a good friend of mine, so. But anyways, Sas, I want to get into this bit of content here on the show before Mr. Vic Ferrari joins us here. What did you think of the latest coming out? I know we spoke off the air, and I really haven't had an on-air comment from you about this with now Tulsi Gabbard leaving the Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party of the past, the Democratic Party that I joined, doesn't exist anymore. The party that was, the party of JFK, of Dr. Martin Luther King, the party of inclusivity, the Big Tent Party that,
I personally think that was a very good move for her. I think more and more people are starting to realize that, okay, maybe the Democratic Party is full of frauds and full of people that believe in false promises. And I think she realized it and stating that, you know what, I think she's starting to see through the bullshit. I think that's what she's starting to see through, and is stating that the Democratic Party are really full of people that just lie and deceive people and they tell you one thing, but then they do the other. And that's why she stepped away. And I think it was a very smart move for her. And I think she's going to have a very good opportunity to run as a Republican candidate and maybe switch Hawaii from being a Democrat to a Republican. We don't know, because she's got a good following, because I follow her on podcasts and stuff on her podcast.
She does have a good following. I actually had a very interesting comment coming from Joseph yesterday on the show, that I asked the same question to Joseph, and he said, Joseph, he goes into lengthy responses. Sometimes I joke around with Joseph and I say, Joseph, put the periods and commas after your sentences. The woman from Australia, she loved it, but she's like, oh, it's okay, But Joseph was like, if Trump, if she's doing this to try to, somewhat get back into the presidency scenario, because you got to remember, she did run for president back in 2016, and it was a failed attempt, right? I mean, Trump just literally went right over her, swept right by her, flew right by her in the campaign race. But if she's doing this for a campaign push, do you think possibly we can see her on the 2024 campaign ticket?
Potentially the vice president list, yes.
Do you think so? Yeah, Joseph said the same thing.
Yeah, I could see her as being the vice president because I know there's some rift going on between DeSantis and Trump. And so I'm thinking that, she could have a good opportunity to be president, to be on the running mate with President Trump, because I think it's important that I think if President Trump really wants to really win by a landslide, I would think that you would have to bring in, a woman of color, and why not a better person, and especially with the background of Tulsi Gabbard, to put her as a running mate, and then put DeSantis as either Homeland Security or even Secretary of Defense.
That could be a good thing. I could see Secretary of Defense, and the reason why I say this is because of what he's doing for the state of Florida.
Yep.
He literally has somewhat of an invincible shield, so to speak, around the entire state, and he's doing wonders for the state. He's acting as as a governor should act, right? He's protecting us. He's keeping the crime low.
Have you seen? Have you heard? It's springtime, there's green grass and birds. Tell your mom Tell your papa, sip Sophia, his back at Wawa. Go, don't even think. Get your favorite drink at Wawa. Only for a limited time.
Michael and Sauce Unfiltered.
And speaking of crime, man, have you seen the latest come out? But before I get into the crime there, what is your response with the Fox's The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro making the remark? Did you see that? It's all over the internet.
This is very interesting. We just spoke about the Democrats' vice president that they chose based on identity politics. A woman who can't get out of her own way to discuss anything when she has the power, she has the ability to get things done in this country and in the world. She is a halfwit compared to other vice presidents. That's number one. You've got Tulsi Gabbard, who put her life on the line for this country, compared to the halfwit that we have as vice president, who can't even address the issues she's supposed to. Let me tell you something. I give her credit for calling out what happened with the Democratic Party, the DNC, when Bernie Sanders was edged out by Hillary Clinton, when she got the questions from what's-her-name, who said that we were criticizing her because she was a good Christian woman. What was her name? Donna Brazile. I mean, let's talk turkey. You want to talk turkey? Let's talk turkey. This woman, Tulsi Gabbard, she is an educated, and she is far from vindictive, spiteful, and angry. You call her those things. I have never seen the woman.
You just called the vice president a halfwit.
She is a halfwit.
No,
look at her comedy shows. Look at your own comedy shows. The Democrats.
I don't own Seth Meyers.
Look, let me tell you something. Your own party makes fun of her. Your own party runs away from her. I have never seen Tulsi Gabbard raise her voice, and she put her life on the line. So
Judge Jeanine literally had basically an on-air battle with the liberal host there on The Five just the other day about this Tulsi Gabbard thing.
Boy, that was surely intense.
Yeah.
And that had a lot to, I don't know, that was a very intense heat, like what there was going on and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. And the whole thing is, why I can see why the Democrats are upset by it. But why is, like, Judge Jeanine, I think, stood her ground, and it was rightly so, and it just made the Democrat co-host, what's his name? I can't remember his name. But he made himself look like an ass.
Yeah, he
That's the best way to
did.
put it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Judge Jeanine was like, you have this half-wit as a vice president, and how dare her try to go after a woman that literally paid her life for this country. Folks, you got to remember, Tulsi Gabbard served in the military.
Yep.
Right? She risked it all shortly before, leaving the military and then getting into politics. Did you see the comment coming out of Vice President Kamala Harris after Tulsi Gabbard? You got to remember something here, folks. Big fan of Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's more of a independent conservative more than a Republican conservative, because there are different types of conservatives. You have independent, you have Republican conservative. Hell, you even have Democratic conservatives. It's rare, but
Yeah, and I don't know. I think she's more of, I don't know. Tulsi Gabbard puts off as more of a moderate, like as a moderate, like she puts me off as like a more as just like the forward party.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, or which the party that Elon Musk is involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Hold that thought, Sas. We're gonna get Mr. Vic Ferrari in here. We just reached out to him, so he should be joining us momentarily. What is your thoughts on there was on the front page here today on USA Today, the January 6th panel is now changing politics, they say, with the hearings captured national attention to profound the effect. They're trying to get that January 6th back into play. Like, what's your insights on that, man?
Well, they're going to do anything and everything to twist the whole January 6th. They're going to make sure that they're going to do everything and anything to like fuel like controversy and to make sure people vote Democrat and stuff. And I mean, that's all it is. Again, it's a big political pawn scheme. It's a way to divide this country. It's a way to fuel hatred, and it's a way to like gaslight this nation.
And I just think it's an absolute dereliction of duty. If you see a problem, and if we agree that we need to address it, then if you're a leader, participate in a solution, right?
And to gaslight our communities that are already like on the brink of like war.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Do you think that they're going to use it for the midterms? I know we've said this time after time. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Why would they?
Like exactly. Like, why wouldn't they? You know, like why wouldn't they want to use it? I think that's the only thing that they have going for them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they lost a complete base. I mean, just the other day, I put out on social media with an AOC supporter.
Congresswoman, none of this matters unless there's a nuclear war, which you voted to send arms and weapons to Ukraine. Tulsi Gabbard, she's left the Democratic Party because there are a bunch of war hawks. Okay, you originally voted. You ran as an outsider.
AOC was at a town hall, kind of like public speaking, an event. I forgot where it was at, but I'm not sure if you've seen it. I just posted this like earlier this morning. Mackenzie put that out while I was at the radio station, and a supporter of AOC was literally calling her out, saying that, you know, you're a warmonger, you're a war hawk, you're supporting the war in Ukraine and Russia and this and that, and you want it, and how dare you do this and that? You're nothing but a socialist, communist, progressive. And I'm like, whoa, like this is a supporter sauce of AOC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this, well, this shows you. Another thing that we also have to look at is that this shows you the hypocrisy and how you have the Democrats, and I think AOC has profited like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars off of this war, and she's getting her costs filled up, but then she's complaining. But at the same time, she wants to make sure that she gets her college debt all paid for without any accountability, you know, so she can keep her woke, gender, tranny, degree.
The reason why everybody will end up in a nuclear war unless you choose to stand up.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, like what bill has she passed? I don't remember her passing any bills. I don't think she.
One.
It's pretty much it. And you know, the whole Green New Deal bullshit. I mean, she seems to be running on that. You know, she wants to, like you said, defund the police. She wants to bring in more carbon fiber type of scenarios, right? She's, you know what AOC reminds me of, Sas? A female version of your ex-girlfriend. Oh, yeah. Why, you dated a woman named AOC?
No, her personality. I dated a girl that had that type of personality, a raunchy personality.
Yeah. She reminds me of a female version of Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. She's got that whole, like, you know, communist, progressive, socialist agenda, you know, where she's really in it for money rather than doing good for, you know, Americans.
Hey guys, this show is now on Amazon Music and Audible. That's right. Gonna want to check us out on Amazon Audible and Amazon Music. Great set of platforms. We are so honored and grateful to be part of the Amazon team. And we're honored that they are allowing us to be launched on those two major platforms. So thank you.
Michael and Sauce Unfiltered.
And I hate to say it, you know, can you see her staying in it on a lengthy term, or do you see her getting voted out probably by like 2024?
Who I think here's what I see with this whole thing. I think people are they're not stupid, but they're too like, they're not educated enough. And so, in her district and stuff, I think they suppress anything that says against her. So then they can like make good things, like publish good, like articles about her and stuff, and saying that she's like the American doll, and that everybody persecutes her. So then she goes up in her ratings, and then she gets higher donations. I don't think she's going to go anyway. I don't think she's going to go anytime soon. So she's like a herpes virus. I think she's going to be there for a long time.
You think so?
Oh, easily. Well, at least in that district. I think in her district, yes.
Yeah. She was asked not too long ago about Medicare, and again, she doesn't really have an answer for it. Somebody was asking her about the changes coming under Medicare, because I noticed that they're going to be putting out tremendous amount of changes for Medicare, and she was like, "Oh, we have to look into that. We have to look into that. We have to look into that."
Yeah, because they don't have answers.
No, they don't have answers. That's Sasha. You gotta remember, this is the Democratic Party that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yep. They say a lot of things, but then they don't have a single answer or any solutions. Besides Trump. Besides blaming President Trump for
we have stupid people dealing, and you could end up.
Like for instance, the Hunter laptop. Did you watch the Fox News thing that came out?
Yeah. I've seen that.
50 Secret Service agents. Well, why on earth wouldn't you are you just dumb or what? People ask questions. Okay, what do you think's going to happen? Like, why don't you answer questions? And why don't you say, okay, you know what? Just be open and transparent instead of just, sitting there dumbfounded and not knowing any of the answers. But are we having the guest coming out, or? Yeah,
he should be joining us here. Mackenzie just put out the invite to him in his email, so he should be joining us here momentarily. But I did say 1:00, so he's probably running a little bit behind, but it's all right. But once we see him in here, we'll open him right up. Okay. But speaking about the hearings, did you know that just this past couple of weeks now, the people that watch the hearings, which I'm told that they're 20 million for the opening of primetime hearing, and about 17, a little less than 18 million for the primetime hearing that closed just this past summer. That's a lot of people, Sauce.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people. You got to think here. These are the repercussions that were basically notable, right? With that panel, and then obviously it was launched. But you got to remember, Sauce, this was launched maybe 15 months ago, in preparation to all this, where a lot of Senate Republicans, tried to filibuster a proposal to form an independent, bipartisan for the January 6th commission. This is the commission I'm talking about.
Yep.
And, then we've seen, the House Speaker, Ice Cream Pelosi.
It's important to note, we fully expect to win.
I call her Drunk Nancy because she's drunk half of the time.
Yeah. Well, she tried to create a special House committee, right? We all seen that, and then she rejected 2 of the 5 members, right? McCarthy, and then a few others, where she's seen them come right into play, and she's like, "Nope, I'm not having this. I'm not having this." Geez, I almost sounded like Donald Trump there for a minute. Wow, that's pretty good. But she was like, "Nope, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. It's no, McCarthy. No, I can't have it. No, I have to go somewhere else." So I could see them playing out the filibuster into the midterms. So,
and getting rid of the filibuster, yes.
Yeah, because they're gonna try to run on that agenda. They're gonna try to run on the agenda, and they're gonna try to make it work as much as they can. And and that's that. Mackenzie, where's our guest at? It's almost 6 minutes into the time slot. Oh, I guess he's running late. Oh well, it's Thursday for you.
Have you seen? Have you heard? It's springtime, there's green grass and birds. Tell your mom, tell your papa. Sipsopia is back at Wawa. Go, don't even think. Get your favorite drink at Wawa. Only for a limited time.
What's that, Sauce?
Well, did I tell you about how I'm considering flying over to I'm flying in at like 1:50 in the morning and to your place in Orlando.
1:50 in the morning. Oh, good thing you reminded me. That's very early in the morning, Sauce.
Yeah, I leave on Wednesday and I come in on Thursday morning.
Hi guys.
Yeah, hold that. Hey, how's it going, Vic? Welcome to Savage Unfiltered, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. And yourself?
Doing fine. Vic, this is my co-host that joins me on the show from Madison, Wisconsin, Mr. Soslan Timason. So yeah, I notice you're a little late. It's okay, a little late than never, right? It's better late than not showing up. So that's always a good thing.
Who, me?
Yeah, it's a joke, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, all right, because I was waiting for that link.
Yeah.
It's link about 12:40, and then I'm saying I do about 10 podcasts a week, and I'm saying to myself, did I get confused? Like maybe I got the dates wrong, and then I was looking for your email address just to confirm.
Oh, it's okay. We're a little tired here. I've been up very early in the morning, prepping for the show and graphics and stuff for other projects and stuff. So, welcome to the show, man. I see that you're a retired NYPD detective, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How many years did you serve on the force up there in New York City?
20 years to almost to the day.
Oh, wow. I'm sure you've seen a lot of crazy shit up in the city there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Bronx kid, born and raised, so I kind of had an idea of what I was getting myself into. But the reality is nothing can prepare you. I mean, New York City's got 9 million people packed into the 5 boroughs, and there's just so much going on, and you see the best and worst of people. But it was a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm sure. As you could probably hear in my voice, man, it's starting to kind of slur off a little bit. I haven't been living in that area of New York in long time, going on almost 16, 17 years now. I happen to reside in the Sunshine State of Florida, but I could relate, man. I used to live in Queens. I was born and raised in Queens, New York. So
whereabouts?
Right as you get into the section as you get into Queens, right off the Queens. Back in the day, we used to call it the Queensboro Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right over near Flushing. Are you familiar with Flushing?
Oh yeah, my dad worked in there. I used to go to work with my father when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, it was a rough area, let me tell you, man.
Yeah, I lived right over the Whitestone Bridge.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that area. I used to, as a kid, my uncle used to take me. I think he did this on purpose to torment me because he knew I hated the New York Mets, and we used to go to the old Met Stadium there in Flushing, which is no longer there. They built a beautiful stadium now. It's rebuilt and all that, but yeah, man, I'm glad I'm out of New York with all that chaos and horror that I see that you guys are having up there with this corrupted mayor of yours, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm out of New York too. 15 years. I retired, and like you, I moved down to sunny Florida.
Oh, so you're in Florida? Okay, all righty.
I got the hell out. Oh yeah, after 20 was enough, and 40-something years of living up there, it was more than enough.
Yeah. Speaking of Florida here, what do you think of Governor Ron DeSantis, man?
I think that if you have a death penalty at all, that is a case where you're massacring those students with premeditation and utter disregard for basic humanity, that you deserve the death penalty.
I mean, I don't want to get political, but I like him. I think he's done a good job.
Yeah, he's done tremendous here, tremendous. Sauce, buddy, are you still there with us, man?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just listening.
Okay. You got to apologize. Sauce is usually like talkative, but I guess he's tired like I am. Vic. I see you're an author, man. I want to get into the books with you a little bit, but I want to get back to this New York City problem. Sas just came up on the show not too long ago and brought to my attention. Now, I did not know this. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but apparently New York City has some type of like secret Chinese police station now up there.
Our latest investigation, 110 oversees China's transnational policing gone wild, documents one specific campaign operated by a couple of counties within China using illegal methods to target, approach, and persuade individuals abroad to return to China against their will. Illegal methods which included threatening, harassment of their family members, relatives back home, but also the use
I've never heard of that. What do you mean, secret Chinese police station?
So
I know what you mean. Yeah, okay. So actually, it's funny. I know what you mean. So what the Chinese government is doing is people that have fled China, political dissidents, and then they come over here and they go on Twitter and Facebook and they got a social imprint and they're knocking the CCP. What it looks like is, they send agents over and basically tell them, listen, you got to go back home and you got to make amends, or we're going to give your family a hard time. Is that what you guys are talking about?
Somewhat. Sash, you want to come into this, buddy, with it? Yeah, go ahead, bud.
So what happened is that that it was, I think it was in a couple articles that are starting to come out where the Chinese government set up a police station in Times Square to patrol, because apparently Mayor Adams reached out and said, well, we're not having enough law enforcement because so many of them are retiring or resigning, so we need other help and other assistance. So Mayor Adams filed a grant through the Biden administration to have other police associations, and one of them ended up being the Chinese government, to start setting up police stations across New York City and in Wisconsin to help patrol the problems, to kind of help get the solution, to get the crime rate down.
Yeah, I have not heard. I have not heard that story.
Yeah, it's all over Instagram, Facebook. I know Breitbart has been putting out a lot. Fox 5 New York just had an article last night in New York City. Yeah, Greg Gutfeld's been putting it out, Sauce, but I know Fox 5 has been touching it very, very heavily. CNN and others are really just kind of like, putting it to the side like they usually do. But, it's interesting, coming from a police officer, detective. Do you think, Vic, and, obviously, I know that, you don't really want to touch on it much, but if you can, do you think it's going to
savaged, unfiltered.
Do you think it's going to put some type of disturbance with the regular, police force in New York City with this Chinese police department now?
Well, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, if they would have treated the police correctly, they wouldn't have the amount of retirements. They wouldn't be down with recruiting. They basically, you got to remember something. For the last 2.5 years, all we've heard is defund the police. The police suck. The police are running around shooting people. So what happens? Cops say, all right, you got a guy that's got 18 years on. He says, you know what? I'm not hanging around till 20. Or maybe there was a female cop that was going to work 25 years and says, you know what? Who needs this shit? And they leave and they resign. And then what happens is recruitment's going to be down. And then the ones you get, you're also going to get not the best and brightest, because you don't have as many apples to pick from. They created this mess.
Yeah,
it's New York was a dump when I was a kid. Giuliani came in and he basically turned it around by taking the handcuffs off the police and letting us do our jobs. And Bloomberg was smart enough to hold on to that model. And then after he left, you had de Blasio come in, and basically he was part of that defund the police. And basically, I hear stories. I don't have that many friends that are active anymore because, most of my friends and family, they're in their 50s now. They're off the job. But you hear things, and it's, nobody wants to hang around anymore. So for them wanting to reach out to a foreign country to set up patrol or something is absolutely ridiculous, because probably what they want to do is they want to learn as much of the response time and how the New York City Police Department works. I think they locked up a Chinese national as a spy that was a member of the New York City Police Department. And I know a guy, not well, but he worked in the same precinct as me. He wasn't the smartest guy in the world. He's a nice guy, but he just was never too bright. He retires from the job. He sets up his own private investigative agency.
We are so excited to do a endorsement pack of endorsing these wonderful candidates for office through state of Wisconsin to Florida to Indiana. It's going to be an action-packed episode along with is America being invaded? The invisible invasion that America needs to be aware of. Hope you tune in tomorrow and remember God loves you. And I'll meet you at the finish line. Have a blessed day. Bye.
And he gets hired by Chinese agents to spy and harass Chinese nationals that are living here. Like I was speaking to earlier, like you got to go home, you got to go back, you got to face up to what you did. And he was indicted and charged. I think it's from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of, aiding and abetting a foreign country. So.
Vic, is this what led to, you writing your book? Because I know you have a book out called NYPD Through the Looking Glass, excuse me.
Well, I got bored. I mean, I did 15 years with the New York City Police Department. I moved down to Florida, and a lot of my friends and family encouraged me. They said, you got all these stories from your time on the job. Why don't you start writing about it? And over the course of 6 years, I've written 6 books, 4 of which are about the New York City Police Department. All my books are just filled with short stories of the colorful characters, interesting criminals, things that happen to me and my friends and family on patrol in the New York City Police Department. There's stories of when I worked in the organized crime division with auto theft. And it's just short stories of things that happened to me during the course of my police career.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've seen that. You have other books too. I've noticed that you were on a recent podcast called the Street Cop Training Podcast, which I thought it was presented very well. You got into a lot of different backgrounds of your personal journey there as a cop in New York City, as a detective. And like I said, I'm sure you've seen a lot of it, man, because I remember living in New York, and I can tell you, I think New York City has like the hardest job, as a police officer, because you guys deal with it all. I mean, there's so many, like hundreds of thousands, just about millions there. I want to say millions now. Obviously the city has grown in the last 16, 17 years of me not living there, and it's still growing. Just different types of people. All types of people. You have all types of criminals too. Like, it's just, oh boy, I could imagine what you've seen.
Well, New York City is one of the largest cities in the world. I mean, you've got 9 million people packed into 5 boroughs, right? You've got the New York City Police Department. I don't know now, but while I was active at any given time, had between 35,000 and 40,000 members. So that's a good Friday night attendance at a Yankee game. Yeah. And then spread out across the 5 boroughs, you have 77 police stations. And then you have specialized units and detective bureaus. So, I mean, they had a perfect model to keep the city safe. And unfortunately, what it looks like they did was they undermined it. And now, you reap what you sow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely reap what you sow. Exactly, Sas. I don't know if you ever seen the TV show, NYPD, and then there's other ones, Law and Order. Literally, those shows paint exactly the storyline of New York City on how these police officers deal with this shit every single day. It's literally like that, man.
Well, so Vic, if I may ask a question, what do you think is wrong? Like, why do you think Mayor Adams? Sorry about that. Why do you think Mayor Adams is now so soft on crime? Because he was a police officer before he became mayor.
Yeah, Mayor Adams was active during my time. As a police officer. I think he got hired a little before, a little after me, but I don't know him. He's a Brooklyn guy, but in the NYPD, you have different fraternal organizations. So the Irish have the Emerald Society, the Italians have the Columbia Association, Jewish cops have, I think it's called the Stubings Association. Eric Adams was very big in the Guardians, which was the African American Society. And Eric Adams had a career of, he was always in the paper. He was always, denouncing the NYPD, always saying it was racist. And, well, maybe not always saying it was racist, but he was always putting race into things. And to his credit, I think he became Brooklyn Borough president for a while, and he got into politics. And listen, I don't agree with the guy. I'm not even a fan of the guy, but you got to give credit where credit's due. To be able to get elected to the city of New York is quite an accomplishment. But I think, unfortunately, what happens to him and a lot of these politicians is they become dependent on their donors, not their voters. And I think if their donors want them to lean a certain way, or not push for something, they're going to go along with it, because at the end of the day, they need that money. They need those campaign contributions to get where they are. And it basically, the little guy, the people, the working class people of New York are the ones that ultimately pay the price, because, he just doesn't feel the need to really go after crime.
No. And look at the DA of Manhattan too. I mean, you want to talk about like some violent and atrocious crimes going on. They have such a horrible way of like holding on to like the criminals and stuff, and like there's no consequences. So like there's like no bail. So like a guy can, like, that individual that pushed the girl like off the subway and then he was out the next day. It's like very poorly run, and he's like, and then he has audacity to say he's so, like, I don't know. It's just like, and there's a very big disconnect between him and Mayor Adams, because it was interesting because Mayor Adams says that, well, he supported that, hey, we got to support law and order, while his DA does the opposite. But his DA, I think, is funded by George Soros, though, too. So, I mean.
Yeah, I think the same thing, Sauce. I think the same thing. I think, from leaving New York, I could tell you right now, man, that the strongest part of New York City with the police force was under Mayor Rudy Giuliani. And that's my own personal opinion.
Well, how can you debate that? It's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, crime was down before Giuliani came in. I mean, crime was up before Giuliani came in. Giuliani basically, made New York City safe again. I mean, Times Square was the Wild West with sex shops and pimps and hoes, and Giuliani went in there and had us clean it up. And then what happened? Corporate America came in. Disney had their flagship store there. Nike has their store. McDonald's, you have the largest McDonald's in there. Times Square became a safe place, and that spread through the 5 boroughs where, before Giuliani, it was almost like an annual, and I lived in a nice neighborhood in the Bronx, but it was almost like an annual occurrence that you were going to get your fucking car broken into a couple of times a year. Maybe you're missing a radio. Maybe you're missing the whole car. I mean, we had over 150,000 stolen cars in the 5 boroughs we averaged in the 90s before Rudy came along. And, we knocked that down to probably 5 or 10,000 a year. So, Giuliani.
Well, Vic, look at this, man. Even Hunts Point, Red Hook, those areas are probably the worst in New York City. He cleaned up those areas. Red Hook was like paradise at one point, under Giuliani. I mean, yeah, there was little crime here and there, but it wasn't like it is now. You go to Red Hook, man, you see hookers all over the place. You see insulin needles all over the damn ground, bums sleeping all over the place. It's a shit show. It really is.
And Central Park is about to be a crapshoot too, because they're building that massive what's it called, refugee camp and stuff in Central Park. So that's about to be a crapshoot too.
No, they're not putting it in Central Park. They're putting it out at Randall's Island.
What are your thoughts on that, by the way? Speaking of it, what do you think about those? Like about the busing of like?
I think they should close the border. If you maintain law and order at the border, you wouldn't have these problems.
Well, Mayor Adams did say that they're a sanctuary city. So I mean, you would think get what you get, huh?
Then he should welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, instead of complaining about, instead of like saying, "Oh,
hold on.
On Randall's Island, you said?
Yeah, originally it was, they started opening up, they started the infrastructure at Orchard Beach parking lot. And I think the community went bananas and really pushed back on it. So they basically picked up everything. And from what I read, that they're putting it over in Randall's Island, which is kind of like a no man's land. It's right underneath the Triborough Bridge. Actually, the last scene of the movie, The French Connection, is filmed there where the bus takes place.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar where it's at. I'm very well aware of that. They shot a lot of movies, actually. Even, they use that area very heavily for Law and Order, the new series. And then obviously they did a lot of scenes with SVU over there too as well. So, yeah, I'm very much well aware of that area. I just didn't know they were putting it in that area.
I don't think they could get away with putting it in Central Park. There's still enough people with money there that would, and donors. Let's not forget the people on the Upper West Side. So I don't think that would fly.
Well, but I thought they're all welcoming, though. Oh man, I guess New York isn't as welcoming as people think. They say, and I think it's funny because now they're pushing back on it and say, "Well, I don't want them in my community, or I don't want them in this area." Well, you asked for it, didn't you? Why don't you elect better people that have stronger foothold?
It's a very small number of people that drive crime in this city, just as it's a small number of people that drive violence. So, I mentioned 43 people arrested more than 1,027 times citywide in 2022 for larcenies. We arrested them 1,027 times. They have undoubtedly victimized thousands.
Yeah.
Didn't that just happen in Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah. DeSantis literally made that point very, very, very well. And what I heard is the next set of migrants being bussed out of Florida or flown out of Florida, however he chooses to use it, he's going to make an example by flying them up to New York City. And I don't know how Mayor Adams is going to react to this, but apparently we've seen the reaction coming out of Martha's Vineyard. We're like, oh, we don't want them sleeping on our beautiful manicured grass,
Or it was interesting because we talk about this item. We talk about what we're talking about right now. So I travel a lot, Vic, either public speaking and doing a podcast, interviewing people. So I was going through Buc-ee's in San Antonio, in Dallas, Texas, and I saw an unmarked charter bus. And so I'm like, okay, my instinct went up, and I said, hey, why don't I just go over there? Because I kind of looked like them because I down dressed whenever I travel. So what happened is I went over there. I asked some questions. Apparently, there's buses being sent over to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and in Madison, Wisconsin. And right when I started asking about certain questions and stuff, I was saying, okay, who are the people? And most of the most of the people that are they're under 40 years old and they're militarized men, ex-military people. And there's very few that have kids and even women and stuff. But a lot of the women that do come across, they're used for prostitution. They're used for sex trafficking. And they're bringing fentanyl over. And now you're bringing that into Wisconsin. Well, into my state, I mean, it's all over the place. And it's like that. It's absolutely atrocious, the handling of it,
Yeah. If they closed the border, you wouldn't have half these problems.
But here's the thing, Sauce. I mean, they do that with the Chinese too, right? I mean, look at all your fucking Chinese parlors all over the place. Chinese parlors today, right now, are literally modern. Back in the day, we used to call them bathhouses. They're nothing but modern whorehouses now, and that's what they are.
Yep.
They just put that label on for the massage, and that's just their little getaway, so they don't get in trouble, and that's what it is. And that's what America's becoming. Unfortunately, it's becoming third world.
Yeah, and they put up a Chinese parlor actually in the East Town Mall, and I'm going to do a special episode on my podcast talking about the Chinese taking over America without people knowing, like the invisible takeover. But that's for another episode. But either way, what made you write your book? What was the first book you wrote, Vic?
My first book I wrote, the first book I wrote wasn't about police work. I wrote a comedy called Dickheads and Debauchery and Other Ingenious Ways to Die. And it's about the ridiculous things people do to shorten their life expectancy, like running with the bulls in Spain, or going to Times Square during New Year's Eve. Just the ridiculous things that I saw during my years in the police department that people, criminals did that ended their lives.
Wait, going to New Year's Eve? How could that end your life?
Well, if you're packed in a pen, you can get crushed. You can get your throat cut after the ball drops. People don't realize how dangerous and disgusting it is at Times Square. So
I guess you can never tell, guys. You can never tell. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening in. The voice of Vic Ferrari, retired NYPD detective from New York City of 20 years. Guys, remember to hit that like, remember to hit that follow button on all major podcast platforms, and we will see you next time, buddy.